Okay, so let's get these wheels prepped and ready for a simulation. So first things first, I'm going to drop a attribute wrangle here and give them names. Okay, so I'm going to put here just wheel 1, and then come inside, and on the primitive I'm going to give it the name s at, give the name attribute is, and then we'll just do $OS, and that will give it the name of the actual node. Okay, so if we go there now, geometry spreadsheet, onto my primitive, got the shopping material path and the name, which is wheel 1, which is what I've just put there. And the good thing about that is if I copy and paste this, it will take the 1 and just give me a 2. And then when I put that in there, automatically then I've got a different name for each wheel. It doesn't matter, you could put wheel front right, but we don't need that information really. Okay, oops, so we got wheel 4, wheel 3, and just connect them up to their respective stream. Okay, I'm going to drop a null, whoops, a null here, and let's go back to our scene view. Here I'm going to call this out. Wheels with anim. Okay, for wheels with animation, obviously. And then I'm going to drop a time shift here for the, delete the channels there, and I'm going to set this to, yeah, just the first frame. Okay, so that is just to strip that animation, remove that animation. Then I'm going to drop another time shift. So if I'll come here, visualize this time shift, and come to the camera that we've got, and I believe it's around frame 70 something, 77. Okay, that's just before I want the car hitting the pole. So that's going to be the beginning of our simulation, right? So yeah, we can have lots of time shifts set to frame 77 as well. So I'm going to delete the channel, frame 77, let's drop another null. Okay, and I call this out. Oops, what am I doing? Yeah, out. I don't want capitals there. Wheels, I'll just put F77 for frame 77. Good. Okay, so back to the first frame. And what I want to do is go over each of these wheels separately, and that's why we've got these name attributes. Okay, so that allows me to go, I can do a for each loop. I'm going to do a for each named primitive, which is what we have. Okay, if you can do for each connected piece, but that's going to generate a connectivity attribute. And in terms of our wheels, the tire, the inside, all of these are separate 3D separate pieces. It's not going to see each wheel, so that's why I've generated these myself. Okay, so that should work for us fine. We got the name on the primitive. Now if we visualize the last here, that should work. If we come to single pass, yeah, there we go. Okay, so it's going over each wheel now. Now to simulate, I'm going to generate more simple geometry on this. So if we drop a tube underneath, okay, set this to polygon, and it's going to be on the x-axis. Connect that up there. Okay, so that's going to wrap that tube around the incoming geometry. You can see that normally a tube will be dropped in the center and to a different scale, but now that's given me the scale of the wheel that I'm feeding it. Okay, if I plug it into the top. Okay, and now let's see, we want probably some more divisions on that. So let's give it 50 columns. I'm not going to give it end caps, because when I give it end caps, it just fills it with one polygon, and I want a point in the middle with triangles. Okay, so I'll just drop a polyfill underneath. All right, and off the back, that doesn't look very good. But if we change this to quadrilateral, I can't even say that, quadrilateral fan. So getting better, but we just turn off this deform patch, and then we got something like that. And make sure we give it normals. We got new geometry there. Okay, and then let's see. So now I want to create separate paths. So we need like for our constraints to work, we need first of all something in the middle for the wheel to connect to, and then we need a hub on the inside for the wheel to actually spin around, and then a piece above for the suspension, so like a spring for between the two, right? So I'm going to create a group here, connect that up on the side, and I'm going to call this wheel. Okay, and then I'm going to make a transform. I'm just going to generate this. I'm just going to cut this because don't need it. And then I'm going to do $CEX, okay, to put the pivots, because they're not in the center each wheel, right? $CEY and $CEZ. Okay, and that will give me the pivot points in the middle of the object, right? And then I'm going to do another transform over here. I'm just going to copy that over so that I've got this expression written out already. And then for this, I'm just going to drop the size down. It's probably not even necessary. It's just so we can see it. And then another group, and call this hub. Okay, and another group on this one. But on this one, I'm going to also drop down the size again, just really for visualizations, to be able to visualize it correctly, and raise it up a bit. Okay, and then if I bring this down, grab all these, oops, yep, and then merge them together, go to the end, there we go, and turn off this single pass, and then there we go. So we've got, if I go to wireframe ghost quickly, you can see we got this hub in the middle, the actual wheel itself, and then the a point for suspension. Now we also need the parts in the middle here. Okay, so let's turn that back on to the normal mode. And we also need name attributes on these. So I'm going to drop in assemble. Let's give them, yeah, the name attributes first. I know we've already got them on the wheels, but you know, they were lost once we generated the tube. We could copy them over, but I'll just do it again. I've already got this group here that I can use. Okay, so I go to wheel. I just noticed there we don't have this group. This will be suspension. Suspension, like that, I think is the spelling. Great, and yeah, so this will be not on the hub, sorry, just on the wheel. We're going to generate just the name attribute. We're not going to pack it yet. Okay, we'll do that later. And we're going to call this wheel. And then we'll do the same for the hub and the suspension pieces. So Control C, Control V, and hub, and then the suspension. Control C, Control V. Perfect. Okay, and then I'm going to drop a delete here. And I'm just going to grab a couple of the wheels, right? So let's see. I'm going to say at name is wheel 1. And delete non-selected. So that's just isolating that one wheel there. Okay. And then another one with wheel 3. Change that to 3. Okay, so I just wanted one at the front, one at the back. And I'm gonna just put a box around that. Probably don't even need to do it, but why not? It's a different shape for the middle, right? Leave that in polygon, add vertex normals, doesn't matter really. Maybe do it up here as well. It's probably not important really. We're not going to be rendering these obviously, so the same over there. and then I'm going to transform them over into the middle. Okay. I'm going to make them smaller first. So 0.3. Again, the pivots. You can see when you don't change the pivot, it's kind of being moved over towards. When I change the scale, it's going to scale it towards the middle of the scene. So I need to make sure the pivot's in the right place. $CEX. $CEY. I'm holding shift, by the way, as well, to get the capitals. CEZ. Okay, and then we'll scale it in location where it is. Do the same for this one. Could do a for each here, but we've only got 2 things, so don't need to worry about it too much. And then to put them in the middle, you can kind of use the same idea. I copy this and do $CEX. Okay, so that's going to be moving it based on the position. Okay, I'm just going to change. I don't want to scale it again. I'm going to change this to minus. So if I do minus $CEX in the X translate, it will put it in 0 in X. Okay, and I don't want it in 0 in Y or Z. Okay, and then just do that same thing on this side. Right, I'm just going to merge them so we can see that they're in the right place. Okay, we've got an error here because we've got some attributes on here but not on here. So maybe we should name these as well. We should put scale and center X, like that, and then we just need to give them the name attribute. So I'm just going to write it out here. Okay, so again on the primitives, we'll keep the names on the primitives for now. Before the simulation, they will have to be moved onto the points. And I'll just call this piece rig 1. Rig 1. We could do the same as what we did up there and type it here. It's up to you. I'm just going to leave it like this and call this one rig 2. Simple as that. So I think that's us already with our wheels. Okay, and drop a null at the bottom. Let's call this out wheels. So let's just double check, go into the spreadsheet. We got groups for the wheels and suspensions. Okay, we got name attributes on all of them, which is good. It's at the bottom, the rigs as well. And on the points, we don't have anything, but we don't need anything on there yet. So that's good, ready to go with our wheels.